Crystal, you ready for this week's garbage horror shoot? Crystal!
Snowball fight!
Snowball fight? We live in New Orleans. We eat snowballs here, not throw them. Ah! Did you just hit me? Ow! With a baseball?
If they can have a mutant killer snowman in the Caribbean, I can have snowballs in New Orleans. Yeah!
Ow! Ow! That's not a snowball fight, that's just assault!
Oh, really? Then what's this?
Uh-oh. Ow! Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Garbage Horror episode number 17. And as you guys know, it's the holidays. You know, the tree that we kindly ignored last week.
Right. Fred went on vacation.
Fred's on a vacation. He's in the Poconos.
Yeah.
He's really enjoying it there. The Poconos being my closet. But long story short, it is the holidays. So as is custom, as horror movie reviewers, we have to do a Christmas music. It's the season when everyone and their brother suggests we do Santa's Sleigh.
Yeah.
Screw you.
We'll do an out of the can on that. It is a good movie, and we do want to talk about it, but that's not what we're talking about this week. That's
not really garbage horror review material.
Right.
This week we're actually talking about a 2000 film, Jack Frost 2. And it's also an opportunity for me to debut my new invention.
Oh.
Yes, I have a new invention this week. It's called Future Mail. It allows me to receive your email from the future so I can respond to it in real time on the show.
That's pretty cool. How'd you come up with this?
Necessity. It's the mother of all invention.
Plot device.
Exactly. No reason. That was last week. Okay. Dear Jonathan and the bitch that sits beside him.
It doesn't really say that.
Why did you decide to review the sequel of a movie before you reviewed the original? Don't you know that's very uncouth? Yes, it is. However, there's a very good reason for this one. Jack Frost 1 was released in 1997 and quickly fell out of distribution.
Right.
You cannot find a copy of that online for less than $30 currently. I even checked eBay. This one, however, we were able to find on a 2-pack with Ice Cream Man for $5 at Walmart. Guess which review you're getting? We're cheap.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point of the show. But don't worry. You don't miss a lot by not seeing the original.
Well, we can't really say that because we haven't seen it.
Well, I'm not saying that. I mean as far as watching this one.
Right. We're taking this as its own little thing.
Yeah, because they pretty much explain everything that happened in the original. You know, there's not much plot missing.
No.
That's what I meant. Taking me out of context here. But, so long story short, Jack Frost 2, a movie about a mutant killer snowman at Christmas in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
One of those reviews, isn't it?
Yeah.
So walk us through this fine movie.
Well, I think you just explained it.
There's an actual plot here somewhere.
There's a mutant snowman and he's killing people and
okay.
They're trying to stop him. That's pretty much it.
Well, long story short, in the first movie, Jack Frost is the guy's name, was turned into a mutant snowman by a freak accident.
Right.
With a genetic sludge and apparently a whole big mess there. However, Sam the sheriff and his cohorts were able to stop him and eventually trap him in his arch, his one great weakness, antifreeze. They buried it underground thinking it was over. Well, some scientist chaps decided it'd be a great idea to get him dug up, and they revive him. And now Jack Frost is looking for revenge, and he follows Sam, who has suffered some pretty severe emotional trauma from the ordeal, as you might imagine. I mean, I'd find it pretty traumatic, you?
Yeah, especially with nobody believing you.
And especially no one believing you. So he and his wife and another couple have headed off to a Caribbean island to spend the holidays there. But Jack Frost is in tow, and he's coming to wreak some havoc. And basically this is a Christmas horror movie with bikinis and babes, and that's really the only qualifications we have for picking the movie.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the best babe is in a pool scene.
Yeah.
So,
we can't show too much about this, but it's one of the greatest examples of how to do a pointless nude scene in a movie. It's not entirely pointless. It does serve a purpose in the film itself, but it's well shot, well introduced, and even though you say it feels out of place...
The reason it feels out of place is because the lighting is different, the style is different. I mean, it's beautifully shot. It's really nice to look at, I'm not gonna lie. But it doesn't have the same tone as the rest of the movie.
It does kind of screw up the tone a little bit. It's got that very soft vibe,
artistic
vibe to it. Yeah, and then of course the rest of the film's kind of a happy slasher, silly, not taking itself
seriously.
Too seriously at all movie. But it is a very strange movie in a lot of regards. You've got a mutant killer snowman on a Caribbean island. That alone right there sets the stage.
Right.
But also you've got a lot of weird and strange characters on this island too. The colonel who runs it. His cohort, Captain Fun. Yeah.
Not.
Captain Fun.
Yeah.
You know this is going to end well. And plus other staff members there. All in all, they come together and they have to battle the snowman in Jack Frost 2. This time around, Jack Frost 2 is much stronger this time.
Right.
Resistant to his old enemy of antifreeze. And they must find a new way to kill this snowman. And the explanation actually winds up being pretty tortured.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there's any way to go through this other than good, bad, best, worst.
No.
Do you?
Let's just get into it.
Okay, good. You.
My good is the tone of the movie. And this actually goes hand in hand with your good.
Which will be the creative kills that are throughout it. But go and talk about the tone a little more.
The tone is very silly slasher. It's upbeat. And it's, it's a killer snowman.
Yeah. It's a horror movie that manages to keep itself upbeat and fun throughout the entire movie. Even as people are getting slaughtered left and right, the body count in this movie is pretty high overall.
It is pretty high.
Even as that's going on, it's still a fun movie, and it's kind of hard to explain, even as there are moments that would normally be terrifying. It's a snowman.
Yeah.
And it's a little baby snowman later on in the movie, too, so it's... kind of weird, but you can't really shake that feeling, and a part of that is the creative kills in this movie. One great scene in this movie, in fact, the first kill on the island itself actually involves an ice anvil.
It's a snow anvil.
A snow anvil, rather. I apologize. Yes, Jack Frost is struggling to get his first kill on the island and decides, screw it, and just drops a snow anvil on him. Kind of cool.
It is very cool, but I think that the point of that and some of the other kills is that he's trying to put himself together.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the typical snowman stuff.
The carrot, the red coal, the scarf, that type of stuff. Ice.
It all plays in.
Yeah, it all plays in together because apparently in this one it's kind of a weird explanation. He's able to thaw and unthaw himself at will, so he kind of exists in water and in snow.
And he can freeze things too.
And he can freeze things and unfreeze things. He's got his powers are kind of limitless. He's a bit like Superman. They just make up his powers as they go. The bad. For me, I touched on the supporting cast a little bit earlier, but really they were not very good.
No.
They weren't very well fleshed out. They weren't very well acted. And let's just face facts. They got a lot of screen time, but didn't really do a lot of anything. I mean, the Colonel, Captain Fun, the other employees there, really, they were just second-tier characters and second-tier roles.
Well, not only that, but the fodder was annoying.
Oh yeah, the fodder. When you go down to the third tier, the meat of the movie, some of them were just deathly annoying. You're absolutely right. A lot of the party sequences and so forth.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there going, "Oh, please, someone kill these people." Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Frost.
Yeah.
I owe you.
The only problem is that he didn't kill the two douchebags fast enough.
I know. There's some that he didn't get to quick enough for my taste. I'll agree with you on that one. Your General Bad.
General Bad is going to be the whole beginning sequence of the movie.
Yeah, I got to go with you on this one too.
Because, you start out with Sam, the detective, who defeated Jack Frost the first time.
Yeah. The whole crap of an antifreeze thing.
He's in the psychiatrist's office and he's retelling his story.
For the millionth time to the psychiatrist, because the psychiatrist even began by saying, "We promise not to talk about it this week." But he goes off and talks about it, and the psychiatrist acts like it's new all over again.
Right, acts like it's new, and his secretary's listening in, and everybody's laughing at him.
There's got to be about a bajillion confidentiality violations.
But that isn't the most egregious thing in this part. The part that I hate the most is where the guy goes and he pays somebody to show him where the antifreeze is buried.
Hey, who he pays, unknown. At least to
who
us.
Who he is, unknown. And then they go to a scientific lab and they're doing some kind of experiments. I'm assuming it's to bring Jack Frost back to life.
But we don't really know that for certain. No. They never outright say it.
They don't say it, and you don't know why they would be trying to do that anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hinted at that it was a government
experiment. This could be something we're losing by not having seen the first.
Right.
But considering that the movie at this point had already invested so much time in explaining what happened in the first movie, it seems like they should have continued it if it is. I mean, if we're missing out on it, then that's partly our fault for not wanting to fork over $30 plus shipping for a copy of the used copy of the first movie.
Right.
But, like I said, they did make an effort to explain other elements from the first movie, and this seems like it would have been something trivial to throw back in.
Right.
And the other thing is this, look, we're watching a movie about a mutant killer snowman.
Right.
There's gonna be some suspension of belief.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that this movie was unbelievable because of this, but I would like a little explanation as to what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and then the explanations that they give later on, like how Jack Frost gets from the lab to the island.
And how he knows where to go. And,
and all of that's just kind of hodgepodge together.
You could tell this was a movie where they started with the concept and the setting, and they worked backwards to try to make it fit the storyline.
Right.
Which always leaves loose ends when you work that way. It's obvious that first movie was meant to be self-contained, and then they had a great concept for a sequel, and then they had to sew it back somehow.
Right.
Very difficult job to do. The best.
Okay.
Crystal.
My best is Manners.
Agent Manners. Or actually not Agent Manners in this movie.
He's retired Agent Manners. He is now the...
Chief of Island Security.
Yes, exactly. And he is just over the top awesome. He is. Because he should be a villain. He should be a cartoon villain. But he's a good guy.
He reminded me a bit, and I know we haven't reviewed this one. We're coming to it next month. The villain from Retarded, actually, in a way. We're coming.
Favorite.
Next month, I promise, Retarded is coming up.
Yeah.
But he reminded me a bit of that. Not just the eye patch. It was.
Yeah.
It was the character itself too. It was very appropriate. Yes, he was very over the top, very secret agenty. Always, were you being followed? It was like when he was like 40 feet away.
Well, I mean, he goes to the costume party dressed as a secret agent and calls it the double negative.
Exactly.
Which is pretty damn funny.
It's pretty damn funny, actually. Now, he was a very, very interesting character, very funny. He didn't develop a lot.
No.
But he was amusing to watch.
Right.
And a good carryover from the first movie. For me, it's Sam, actually. Yeah. Sam the Sheriff. Look, character development's not something this style of movie's known for.
No.
Sam actually shows some development in this movie. Some pretty significant development. He starts off an emotional and psychological wreck in the psychiatrist's office.
Right.
He gets dragged, almost kicking and screaming by his wife to this island.
Right.
Then he starts to suspect things are going on. He starts seeing things and thinking about things and trying to convince people. And somehow through that actually finds his sanity. Once he knows that Jack Frost is alive, he actually starts to snap to attention a little bit.
Well, and when they first get to the island, he does get to relax a little bit. You get to see him as not a paranoid person.
He's drinking, he's having fun, he's unwinding some. Yeah, that's true. I skipped a step.
Yeah.
And then as he's seeing things happen and unfold, like I said, he snaps to attention and starts to focus.
Right.
And works with Manners to try to find an actual solution to this. And then he loses it all over again.
Yeah.
After his first attempt to kill Jack Frost falls very much flat.
Right.
So, it's a very interesting roller coaster with this character, and I also found it endlessly amusing that the reason people didn't listen to him 90% of the time in this movie wasn't because they didn't outright believe him, but was because they were sick and tired of hearing about it.
Right.
He did a good job acting like a guy that's been battling about this crap for a full year, and everyone else, the immediate people around him, those top tier actors, did a good job acting like they were truly sick of it.
Right.
The worst.
For you.
For me, okay, look, I don't mind product placement in movies much. If it's done tastefully, if it's done tactfully, and it doesn't interfere with the plot. I want to know how much Asahi beer paid the makers of this movie for all those mentions.
Very good, by the way.
Asahi's great beer. I love it. But, I mean, how much do you have to pay to get, I think, like a dozen different mentions in this movie? Every beer ever consumed by any character at any point is clearly Asahi. We know it's the bottle. They say the name Asahi at least a dozen times in this movie. It is ridiculous how much this product placement is thrown out. Even the boxes that they hide behind in one scene are Asahi boxes.
Right.
It is just insane how much this is thrown in there, and frankly, it was started out as, oh, product placement, all right. Then I go, okay, it's campy product placement. It fits the tone of the movie, and then it just kicked it to 11, and it became outright Asahi all out in here, and it just got annoying.
Okay.
Asahi.
Right. My worst.
Asahi.
Asahi, stop stepping on my worst.
Asahi.
My worst is actually is a toss-up.
Okay.
Exactly. Between the Colonel and Captain Fun.
Yeah, two of those two of those supporting characters we were just talking about a little bit.
Captain Fun.
Oh God.
It's really fucking annoying. There's no other way to put that. I mean, if you go to a hotel and you get the honeymoon suite, you don't expect somebody to come in first thing in the morning, jump into bed with you,
and tell you to go to archery practice in an hour.
Exactly.
I would have shot him with the arrow personally.
Yeah, and I mean his idea for everything is to throw a party. That's his solution for everything.
Which, I mean,
they talk about that.
God, it's just he starts out the very first sequence he's in when he meets Sam at the first party.
Right.
He kind of fits the tone. He's being campy and silly. And you think he's going to be a throwaway character that's a one-off gag.
Yeah.
And he's not going to come back. No, he is in the movie for a very significant amount of time. Yeah. And he never lets up.
No.
It's just, it gets way overbearing. And the other one?
And the Colonel is probably just a little bit worse. But I'm not sure.
I didn't mind the Colonel as much. But
he's so over the top.
Yeah.
And not in the same way Manners is, but so over the top.
He's very Monty Python-ish.
Yeah, but I like Monty Python.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just not the right for the tone of the movie.
Right, and he's dressed in
the traditional safari garb, actually, the hat, the beige outfit, and he talks constantly about being in India. So we're assuming he's a British soldier.
All this stuff
served in all these campaigns.
All the time, and he's oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he tries, everything that he does is to save the reputation of the hotel, because when they find a body, well, it was a shark attack, obviously.
On dry land.
On dry land.
Under a tree.
And squished to death.
Because that's how sharks kill people.
Exactly. I mean, it's just...
It's over the top, and he would have fit in very well in the Monty Python sketch about the tiger.
Right.
Remember the one that actually took place, and in fact, the way he talked and the stories he told about trapping Bengal tigers and whatnot would have fit in with that sketch. He did not fit in with this movie at all.
No.
He threw off that precious tone you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's it.
Recommendations. For me, and I think for both of us indeed.
Right.
This is for fans of silly slashers. This is Cottontail. This is Thanksgiving. Ooh. This is those style of silly slasher movies where there's a blend of horror comedy, but the comedy kind of comes out on top. If you dig that, you're going to dig this. There's a lot of good throwaway jokes. There's a lot of very subtle humor here. You know, watch what characters do, where characters set things. Watch the motions carefully.
Right.
But that being said, I don't think it's really worth a second watch. It kind of baited for us a little bit on the second walkthrough, the second watch through of it. So long story short, watch it once, but pay close attention to it. Don't want to miss any gags.
Right. I do want to mention one thing real quick.
Okay.
The baby snowman.
Yes.
If you're a fan of Gremlins, you'll like these characters.
Yeah, there were some great scenes after the first attempt to kill Jack Frost failed, where he starts coughing up these baby snowmen, and they're very gremlin-like, actually. Yeah. So I think that'd be a good test.
There's even a Spike.
Yeah, there's even a Spike. It's not the whole movie. It's probably about a 20-minute stint in it that they're really active in it. Yeah. But it's a pretty good sequence, and they actually, I mean, at first I thought the effects were kind of cheesy because some of them are CGI and some of them are actual physical props.
Right, they're the styrofoam balls that you can buy at any craft store.
But, you know, the ones that were CGI looked lame, the ones that were physical looked amusing at least. They looked pretty good. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. If you're a huge fan of Gremlins, you might want to check this one out. Right. But basically, anyone that likes that style of comedy horror is going to dig this film, I think. Yeah. Well, is that it for Jack Frost 2?
I believe so.
Well, on that note, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Garbage Horror, episode 17 for Jack Frost 2. Enjoy your holidays.
And remember to like us. Really like us.
Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/garbagehorror and also on Twitter at twitter.com/garbagehorror. It's kind of predictable. Yeah. Also, you'll find the links to that on our site at garbagehorror.com. Check us out there as well. So on that note, thank you very much, and we will see you guys next week. Ow! Oh!
Really?
Ow! 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 Oh! Fuck! Ow! Did you just hit me? Ow! The baseball?
Yeah!
Ow! Ow! That's not... Oh! Ow!